Do you remember the last time someone ran out to open your car door, wipe your windshield, and check your oil? Just because you stopped for gas? In the 1950s, the American gas station wasn't a place where you quickly swiped a card and sped off. It was a place where cars were pampered, people were welcomed, and the entire community gathered. Just one little ding-ding sound, and a whole world of dedicated service began. Today, join us as we explore the amazing things you will never see again at modern gas stations. The legendary warning bell. The very first moment that signaled you had entered the world of dedicated 1950s service was the legendary ding-ding bell. This bell wasn't a complex electronic device. It sounded when your car tire rolled over a black rubber hose that lay across the service station entrance. This rubber hose was connected to a bell located inside the building. The ding-ding sound acted as a call to action, signaling that a driver had arrived and needed service. This black rubber hose stretched across the driveway was a familiar sight at every gas station back then. It served as the simplest yet most effective customer warning system. Immediately, an attendant in uniform would quickly hurry out to the driver's side window. The employee would stand right by the car window and ask the classic question, "Fill her up?" This welcome was the beginning of a full-service package, and it was a memorable part of growing up during that era. Something we no longer see today. The attendant's elegant style. In the 1950s, gas station attendants were more than just fuel pumpers. They were the face of customer service and the image of the oil company. Attendants, often nicknamed pump jockeys, always appeared in clean, neat, and elegant uniforms, sometimes as sharp as the police or firefighters of the time. The standard uniform included a shirt with the company logo embroidered on one pocket and a neatly embroidered name tag on the other pocket. They often wore a sharp cap and sometimes even a bow tie. This professionalism reflected the reality that the gas station was a true service station, where customers expected basic repair and maintenance services. Besides their sharp appearance, attendants carried an item that many 1950s children remember. A roll of cash, usually $1 and $5 bills, neatly rolled up in their shirt pocket. This cash allowed them to quickly make change right at the car. For many kids sitting in the family car, the moment they saw that wad of cash created a sense of admiration, making them wish they could work at a gas station someday. They were treated with respect because they provided an essential service that many people couldn't perform themselves. Compared to modern cashiers standing behind bulletproof glass, the 1950s gas station attendant symbolized an era where personal service, professionalism, and convenience were key to winning the fierce competition between oil companies. Their dedicated care turned a simple task like getting gas into a full-service stop experience, far removed from the hurried, self-service model we know today. Do you remember the distinctive smell of leaded gasoline, or the feeling of getting your windshield cleaned for free back then? Comprehensive routine, maintenance. After the attendant politely greeted you, the moment your car stopped next to the pump was when the full-service experience began, a service that has completely disappeared today. For the 1950s, gas station attendant, pumping gas was just the first step. The rest of the process was automatic routine maintenance, a free service performed whether the customer bought only 50 cents worth of gas or filled the tank completely. This service was essential because cars back then were less reliable and required more frequent maintenance than modern vehicles. The dipstick ritual. The very first thing the attendant would do after starting the gas pump was automatically open the hood. The focus of this action was checking the engine oil level, a ritual performed with near-ceremonial professionalism. The attendant would pull out the dipstick, and the unmistakable characteristic was the large rag always hanging out of their back pocket, used to wipe the dipstick clean. After wiping, the mechanic would present the dipstick for the driver's inspection. This gesture was often described as being like a sommelier inviting a guest to sample a vintage wine. This oil check wasn't just a courtesy, it was a necessity. 1950s cars typically consumed much more oil. In fact, those who worked at service stations in the 60s and 70s recalled that, on average, 1 in 5 cars entering the station was a quart low on oil. Some V8 cars even lost so much oil that they needed an additional 3 quarts just to reach the required level. The oil top-off service was a common request after every 3 or 4 fill-ups. The service ensured the engine ran smoothly throughout the journey. Under the hood diagnostics. Checking under the hood also included many other vital fluids. Coolant/water check, The attendant would check the coolant level in the radiator. Battery check. This was a necessary service that no longer exists today. Unlike modern sealed batteries, batteries back then were often not sealed and required the attendant to check the water level inside. They would add distilled water if necessary, ensuring the battery worked well and extended its lifespan. These actions weren't just customer service, it was the work of a basic technician, helping drivers avoid major breakdowns on the road. Squeegee mastery. While the gas was pumping and fluids were being checked, the attendant would move on to a part of the service that customers always appreciated: cleaning the windshield. The attendant would use a squeegee and display skillful expertise, like a surgeon, to clean the large panoramic windshields typical of 1950s cars with just a few decisive swipes. This entire service, from cleaning the glass to checking the oil, was performed free of charge. In addition, attendants also checked tire pressure and might perform other small services, like taking trash bags from customers to dispose of. Customers could even stop just to use the free air hose to inflate their tires. Many stations even left the air hose outside after closing at 7 or 8 p.m. This comprehensive routine made maintenance service define the identity of the old service station. It not only ensured your car was in the best possible condition, but also provided drivers with complete peace of mind, a sense of personal care that we traded for the convenience of today's self-service model. When was the last time someone checked your car's oil for free? What did that kind of dedicated service mean to you? Mechanic on duty. The 1950s gas station, the period when personal cars exploded in popularity, was correctly called the service station. This distinction stemmed from a crucial reality. Vehicles back then were less reliable and required much more frequent maintenance than modern cars. Most service stations were equipped with at least one service bay. This wasn't just a place for tire changes. Professional mechanics were equipped to do everything from oil changes, brake replacements, to even complete engine overhauls. To reassure and serve drivers experiencing roadside trouble, stations often hung a "mechanic on duty" sign outside. The presence of professional mechanics turned the gas station into a one-stop service center for all auto problems. Even the pump jockeys often acted as basic mechanics. Former gas station employees clearly recall that 1950s cars had terrible oil consumption. It was estimated that about 1 in 5 cars that stopped by needed an oil top-off. Sometimes they had to add up to 3 quarts of oil just for the dipstick to show a full level. Therefore, repair service was not just an added convenience. It was an indispensable part of the gas station experience back then. This combination of gas pump and professional repair garage defined the service station era, creating absolute peace of mind and reliability for drivers on the newly opened highways. Gas prices and the display problem. If today you are shocked to pay over $3 for a gallon of gas, in the 1950s, the biggest economic shock was when gas prices crossed the $1 mark, a price considered unimaginable at the time. In 1950, the average gas price in the US was only 27 cents a gallon. By 1960, this number only slightly increased to 31 cents. Of course, the fuel sold at this extremely low price was leaded gasoline. Leaded gasoline acted as a lubricant for the engine valves of the time, a crucial technical factor before the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, began imposing limits on lead content in the 1970s. The low gas prices created an interesting technical issue. The gas pumps of the time were only designed to display a maximum of 3 digits for the price per gallon. Out of those 3 digits, 1 digit was dedicated to displaying 9/10 of a cent. This meant that when the gas price reached $1, the pump system couldn't display the full number. To solve this $1 crisis, gas station owners had to use immediate makeshift solutions. They had to paste a piece of adhesive tape on the pump to reflect the soaring cost, or simply double the price displayed on the pump to overcome the display limit. This inconvenience is proof of an era when no one anticipated gas prices could climb to $1 a gallon, and the story of the 3-digit pumps became a symbol of the economic innocence of the 50s. Leaded gas and environmental change. In the 50s, the standard fuel at gas stations was something we would never want to touch today: leaded gasoline. This fuel was not a random choice, it was a mandatory technical factor for the automobile engines of the time. Before 1971, car engines were equipped with soft valve seats. The lead in the gasoline played a paramount role, acting as a lubricant to prevent excessive wear from occurring inside the engine. The presence of lead was necessary to protect the car's longevity in an era before air quality regulations were applied. However, the major environmental turning point came when the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, began imposing limits on lead content in gasoline, starting in 1973. At the same time, new car models aiming to control pollution were required to be equipped with catalytic converters. These catalytic converters, in turn, required the use of unleaded fuel. If previously the attendant usually asked the customer regular or ethyl, by the mid-1970s the question had completely changed to reflect the new environmental era: leaded or unleaded. This transition marked a significant milestone, shifting the focus of the automotive industry from maximizing engine performance with lead to prioritizing air quality regulation and public health. Paying with old credit cards. Even before today's convenient pay-at-the-pump technology existed, customers at 1950s service stations could buy gas using credit cards. However, this was an entirely manual and highly personalized ritual. Most major oil companies at the time issued their own credit cards. When customers paid, the attendant would take the card from the driver and carry it inside the office to process the payment on a manual printing machine. To improve efficiency and avoid making customers wait, gas stations gradually adopted portable manual imprinting machines. The attendant would use this machine right at the car, creating the characteristic kerchunk sound to print the card information onto the receipt. Once the receipt was printed, it would be placed on a small tray along with a pen for the customer to sign. This entire process demonstrated a combination of modern convenience using a card and premium personalized service. Still with us on this nostalgic journey? Drop a yes in the comments so we know you're enjoying it. Free road maps. Before GPS became an indispensable companion on every road trip, where did you pull over to find your way if you got lost on the newly opened highways of the 1950s? The answer was the service station, where you could receive free road maps, a courteous, polite service that has completely disappeared today. Gas stations always had a rack filled with detailed, accurate road maps that were completely free for customers. This was a standard service that customers always expected. Unlike cashiers hidden behind bulletproof glass today, service station attendants back then acted as local guides. They didn't just hand you a map of the state you were traveling through. They often used a pen to clearly mark the route on the map as a visual aid, and then let the driver take it completely free of charge. One company in New York even had the unique initiative of offering upside-down maps, south at the top, to help drivers heading south use them more easily on the way to Florida. Promotional giveaway strategies. In the fierce competition between oil companies in the 1950s, providing excellent service alone wasn't enough. Gas stations had to find ways to ensure customer loyalty through attractive promotions and giveaways. This promotional giveaway strategy turned every stop for gas into a small treasure hunt. Collecting household items. One of the most popular and memorable tactics was giving away household items. Customers only needed to fill up their tanks to receive items like drinking glasses printed with the company logo, china dishware, or cutlery. The goal was to encourage customers to return to the station multiple times to collect the entire set of dishware or cutlery. This strategy not only boosted gas sales, but also promoted the oil company's brand right in the customer's kitchen. Trading stamps and promotional items. Besides household goods, gas stations were also distribution points for a variety of promotional items and participated in the loyalty programs of the time. Trading stamps. This was an early form of rewards points. With every purchase, including gas, customers would receive various stamps like blue chip or green stamps. Customers would paste the stamps into a book, and once enough were accumulated, they could redeem them for gifts in a catalog. This system operated similarly to today's credit card rewards points or frequent flyer miles. Customers also received small items like keychains, wall calendars, or car-themed trading cards. The most famous campaign was probably Esso's with the slogan, "Put a tiger in your tank," advertising their special gasoline blend and giving away tiger-related items. These programs not only attracted customers, but also turned gas stations into social centers and sources of valuable free gifts, creating memorable childhood memories. Some stations even held contests with grand prizes, such as the chance to win a brand new Cadillac. Out of all the collectibles, glasses, china, keychains, which item do you remember most and wish you could find again? community hub, and snacks. Today, a gas station primarily resembles a convenience store that also sells fuel, but in the 1950s, the service station was a bustling social center rather than just a place to pump gas. They weren't just for filling the tank. They were considered a one-stop heaven for all things automotive and a place where people gathered to catch up on news. Especially for children, the gas station was an indispensable part of childhood. For kids growing up in this era, gas stations were community meeting spots and a second home on weekends after school and throughout the summer. They provided convenient free services, such as the air hose for inflating bicycle and basketball tires. Many drivers even stopped just to use this free air hose, sometimes even after the station closed around 7 or 8 p.m. Soft drinks, often called pop, were sold in glass bottles and only cost 5 cents. The most popular types were Coca-Cola or Orange Crush. A unique specialty of the time was pouring a packet of peanuts into a Coke bottle and sucking them up with the drink, an experience many remember fondly. Additionally, gas stations sold all sorts of candy, including popsicles, ice cream bars and sandwiches, fudge, and even candy cigarettes. These snacks were crucial supplies, especially during breaks between the kids' cowboy or war games. This combination of comprehensive car service and convenience store transformed the gas station into a highly personalized stop. It was a full-service stop experience that was completely different from today's convenience store model, which focuses solely on profit from impulse buys when customers go to check out. Googie architecture, icon of the space age. The moment your car rolled over that familiar warning bell hose, you weren't just entering a gas pump area. You were stepping into architecture that fully reflected post-war America's optimism, prosperity, and space ambition. This style was called Googie architecture, also known as Populux or doo-wop, and it turned roadside service stations into futurist icons. Googie architecture was a prominent style, strongly shaped by the booming car culture, the emergence of jet planes, and the public's endless fascination with the atomic age and the space age. Born in Southern California and developing from the streamlined modern style of the 1930s, Googie dominated roadside architecture from about 1945 to the early 1970s. This style was particularly popular with roadside businesses, including motels, coffee shops, and of course, gas stations. Googie's defining characteristic was its boldness and energy. These structures often featured upswept roofs, made extensive use of curved and geometric shapes, glass, steel, and neon lights. Googie wasn't afraid to incorporate symbols of space and motion, such as the boomerang shape, flying saucers, atomic models, parabolas, and especially the imagery of exploding starbursts. There was even an unwritten rule of Googie that buildings must convey the feeling of defying gravity, as if they were suspended in the sky. The purpose of these designs was to create a strong visual language to capture the attention of drivers moving at high speeds. The term Googie originated from the Googie's Coffee Shop in Hollywood, a building designed by architect John Lautner in 1949. After House and Home magazine editor Douglas Haskell declared, "This is Googie architecture," the name became the label for the style. Culturally, Googie architecture perfectly reflected the wealth, optimism, and public excitement about new inventions like nuclear power and space travel in the US. Instead of just being functional boxes, Googie gas stations became architectural structures that felt like temporary observation posts of a promising future. The shift from service stations to convenience stores reflects the advancement of automotive technology and changes in consumer behavior. Today, cars need less frequent maintenance, and we prioritize speed and convenience when self-pumping gas and swiping a card. Modern gas stations' profits come from selling snacks, cigarettes, and coffee, not from repair services or fuel. However, along with those innovations, we lost the warmth of the dedicated service model. We no longer have attentive attendants wearing bow ties, ready to clean your windshield and check your oil, even if you only buy 50 cents worth of gas. What we truly miss is not just the free China cups or leaded gas, but the personalized care and sense of community that the service stations provided. Like a well-fitting old coat, life at the 1950s gas station offered a sense of safety and being cared for that is hard to find in the hustle of modern life. Life in the US in the 1950s. lifetime. Thank you for joining Back to Yesterday to revisit this memory. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next nostalgic story.